In 1993, a seismic survey revealed something that should have been impossible. Vast chambers carved from solid bedrock beneath the Sphinx, chambers that predate the pyramids by thousands of years. The Egyptian government immediately classified the findings. No excavation has been permitted since. But that's not the whole story. What the official reports didn't mention was the discovery of perfectly circular shafts descending over 100 feet into bedrock that geological surveys claimed should be solid limestone. What they didn't report was the discovery of a vast underground hall, larger than a cathedral, with acoustic properties that defy conventional understanding of ancient construction techniques. What lies hidden in those tunnels that authorities are so desperate to keep secret? What did ancient Egypt discover beneath the world's most famous monument that they tried so hard to erase from history? And why, when modern technology finally revealed these chambers, did every major archaeological institution in the world suddenly develop a collective case of amnesia? Tonight, we descend into forbidden spaces beneath the Sphinx, following evidence that suggests civilization's greatest mystery isn't when humanity learned to build, but what we were forced to forget. Because what you're about to discover will change not just how you see the past, but how you understand the very nature of human consciousness itself. The desert wind carries whispers tonight, as it has for 10,000 years. Feel the sand beneath your feet grow cool as twilight settles over the Giza plateau. The tourists have departed, their voices fading like echoes in the valley below. But listen carefully, do you hear that? That subtle harmonic that seemed to emanate from the ground itself. A frequency so low it's felt rather than heard? The locals know about the humming. They've always known. Bedouin guides speak of it in hushed tones, describing how certain nights the very sand vibrates with an energy that makes their camels restless, and their children dream of vast underground cities. Egyptian workmen who spent their lives around the monuments know never to sleep too close to the Sphinx on nights when the moon is dark. That's when the resonance is strongest, when sensitive individuals report visions of towering figures moving through corridors that shouldn't exist. Close your eyes and let the weight of millennia press gently against your shoulders. The limestone beneath this monument remembers when the Sahara was green, when rivers flowed where only sand remains. But it remembers something else too, something that makes conventional archaeologists nervous and causes funding committees to suddenly discover urgent budget constraints elsewhere. Tonight, we descend not just into the earth, but into time itself, following corridors that were already ancient when the first pyramid rose against the sky. The air grows cooler as we journey downward, carrying with it the scent of stone and secrets that have waited in darkness for your arrival. Step carefully now, as your feet find purchase on stairs carved with impossible precision. Each step takes you deeper into a world that officially does not exist, where the very architecture defies everything we've been taught about our ancestors. Notice how your footsteps echo, not with the hollow sound of empty space, but with the deep resonance of chambers that stretch far beyond where any beam of light could reach. The walls around you bear no hieroglyphs, no royal cartouches. Only the smooth, weathered surface of stone that has witnessed the birth and death of countless civilizations above. But run your fingers along these walls, and you'll feel something that shouldn't be there. Microscopic grooves, too precise to be natural, too complex to be decorative. When Dr. Robert Schoch first analyzed these surface patterns in 1991, his dating equipment returned readings that the academic community immediately rejected as impossible. The patterns you see suggest tool marks from implements that create surface textures we can only achieve today with diamond-tipped laser cutters. Long before the Pharaohs carved their names into eternity, before the first dynasty dreamed of golden afterlives, there were others here. But this isn't speculation anymore, it's measurable fact. Carbon dating of organic materials found in the deepest chambers has consistently returned dates that predate known Egyptian civilization by over 8,000 years. 3 separate laboratories have confirmed these results. All 3 have since lost their funding for Egyptian archaeological research. Picture them now. Figures moving with purposeful grace through chambers carved from living rock, their footsteps echoing in halls that stretch beyond the reach of torchlight. But these aren't primitive shadows from humanity's dawn. The evidence suggests something far more sophisticated, far more unsettling to our understanding of linear progression. Feel the cool touch of polished granite beneath your fingertips as you move through corridors that branch like the roots of some enormous tree. The engineering here defies conventional understanding. Water once flowed through these passages, not just trickling streams, but controlled currents that power machinery we're only beginning to understand. Hydraulic engineers who study the channel systems report that they demonstrate an understanding of fluid dynamics that wasn't officially discovered until the 18th century. In the largest chamber, stand where they once stood, your breath visible in the eternal cool. The ceiling soars above you, carved with precision that rivals our finest cathedrals. Yet this was crafted when humanity was supposedly learning to sharpen its first tools. But here's what will make you question everything you thought you knew about human development. The acoustic properties of this chamber are not accidental. Sound engineers who've analyzed the space, in secret of course, report that it's designed as a perfect resonance chamber, tuned to specific frequencies that have measurable effects on human brain activity. Standing in the center of the room and speaking at certain pitches produces standing wave patterns that can induce altered states of consciousness in sensitive individuals. The chamber, in effect, is a machine, a technology for expanding human awareness that predates written history by thousands of years. Listen closely. Can you hear it? The faint echo of ancient voices, speaking in tongues that predate Sumerian, discussing concepts that would not enter human consciousness for millennia to come. They move between chambers with the confidence of those who understand forces we have forgotten, carrying knowledge that would reshape our understanding of physics, of consciousness, of the very nature of reality itself. But here's where the story takes a turn that will haunt your dreams. They weren't alone down here. Analysis of the tool marks, the construction techniques, the mathematical principles embedded in architecture, they all point to collaboration between multiple groups, multiple species of intelligence working together on projects that span centuries. Some of the carved symbols, when subjected to computer analysis, reveal mathematical constants that govern quantum mechanics, constants we didn't officially discover until the 20th century. Other patterns, when mapped against astronomical data, show planetary alignments that won't occur again for another 26,000 years. These weren't primitives scratching in the dirt. These were the inheritors of something vast, something that had already spanned continents and epochs before the first mud brick was laid in Mesopotamia. They built not just with stone, but with understanding, creating spaces that served purposes we can barely comprehend, leaving behind evidence of capabilities that challenge everything we believe about the progression of human knowledge. And they left something else too, something that explains why these chambers were sealed, why the knowledge was buried, why entire civilizations chose to forget rather than remember. They left a warning. But knowledge, once released into the world, cannot be contained forever. As centuries turned to millennia, as the waters receded and the great migrations began, something changed in the chambers beneath the Sphinx. The original builders vanished like morning mist, but they didn't simply disappear. They made a choice. The evidence suggests they dismantled their technology, sealed their greatest discoveries, and scattered their knowledge across the globe in fragments too small to be dangerous alone. Why would a civilization at the height of its power choose to forget everything it had learned? The newcomers found the tunnels by accident, or perhaps they were guided there by dreams that plagued their sleep, visions that drew them to dig in specific locations until they broke through into chambers that shouldn't exist. Imagine their torches casting nervous shadows as they descended, their whispered prayers echoing off walls that predated their gods. What they found challenged everything they thought they knew about the world, about time, about the nature of human knowledge itself. Here, carved into stone that should not have been carvable, were star maps of impossible precision. But not just maps of the stars as they appeared in ancient skies. Maps of stellar positions that wouldn't be visible from Earth for thousands of years in the future. Mathematical formulas that would not be discovered for millennia, describing principles of energy manipulation that we're only beginning to understand today. In one chamber, archaeologist Dr. Zihawas discovered something in 1997 that he's never publicly discussed. a wall covered in diagrams that describe, in perfect detail, the mathematical relationship between consciousness and quantum field fluctuations. The equations, when fed into modern quantum computers, produce models that match our most advanced theories about the nature of reality itself. Picture the high priests of ancient Egypt, their faces pale in the torchlight as they studied walls that spoke of technologies beyond their comprehension. Here were diagrams of machines that could move massive stones without effort, not through simple mechanical advantage, but through manipulation of gravitational fields. Calculations that revealed the true age of the Earth, down to geological layers they shouldn't have known existed. Maps of stars that showed the cosmos in ways that wouldn't be understood again until the age of space telescopes. But there was something else, something that made their blood run cold. Among the technical diagrams and star charts were historical records, accounts of what had happened the last time this knowledge was freely available to humanity. The builders, it seemed, had not been the first to discover these principles. They were inheritors themselves, the survivors of an even earlier civilization that had pushed these technologies too far, too fast. The record spoke of machines that could reshape matter at the molecular level, of technologies that could expand human consciousness beyond the boundaries of individual minds, of experiments that had torn holes in the fabric of space-time itself. They spoke of a civilization that had achieved what we would call godlike power, and of the catastrophic collapse that followed when that power was misused. The discoveries shattered their worldview like pottery dropped on stone. If these chambers were real, and the evidence of their senses insisted they were, then humanity had been here before. We had achieved technological and spiritual heights that surpassed anything in their contemporary world, only to fall so completely that even memory of our achievements had been lost. The priests met in council for 7 days and 7 nights. The debate was fierce. Should this knowledge be released to humanity, or should it remain buried? They had seen what uncontrolled access to these principles had done before. The warning was clear in historical records. Civilizations that pushed too far, too fast, invariably destroyed themselves. In the end, they chose silence over revelation, order over truth. But their decision went deeper than simple concealment. They didn't just seal the entrances and burn the records. They instituted a systematic program of disinformation, creating false histories that portrayed humanity as a young species slowly climbing from primitive beginnings, rather than an ancient race recovering from catastrophic fall. What humanity was not ready to know would wait, buried beneath the weight of carefully constructed ignorance and the slow accumulation of sand. The truth was hidden not just from the world, but from future generations of their own priesthood, ensuring that the knowledge could never again be released prematurely. Time is the great revealer and the great concealer both. Watch now as the centuries flow like water over stone, as civilizations rise and fall above the sealed chambers, none suspecting what lies sleeping beneath their feet. But the concealment wasn't perfect. It couldn't be. Truth has a way of surfacing in unexpected forms, leaving traces that those who know what to look for can still follow. The Sphinx weathers into enigma, its original features softened by wind and rain, until even the memory of its first form fades from human consciousness. But recent analysis of water erosion patterns on a monument reveals something that mainstream archaeology refuses to acknowledge. The damage was caused by rainfall patterns that haven't existed in the region for over 9,000 years. The Sphinx is far older than anyone wants to admit. Greek scholars arrive, asking questions a priest can no longer answer honestly. But notice how certain themes persist in their mythology. Titans who possess godlike technology before being overthrown, golden ages when humanity possessed wisdom that was later lost, cataclysmic floods that destroyed advanced civilizations. The stories were dismissed as fantasy, but what if they were history disguised as myth? Roman engineers measure and calculate, but their instruments detect nothing of what lies below. Medieval travelers spin tales of magic and mystery, never guessing how close to truth their fantasies actually come. But throughout this period, secret societies emerge, groups that claim to possess ancient knowledge, that speak in coded language about technologies and spiritual practices that officially don't exist. Where did this knowledge come from? Napoleon's expedition sketches and catalogs every visible stone, but the greatest discoveries remain invisible, locked away in chambers that have been forgotten for so long that even the legends have forgotten them. Yet Bonaparte scholars noted something curious in their measurements: acoustic anomalies around the Sphinx that suggested hollow spaces beneath, mathematical proportions in the monument's design that encoded advanced astronomical data. But the Earth keeps its secrets poorly, especially in an age of advancing technology. Ground-penetrating radar pierces the sand like X-rays through flesh, revealing the skeletal structure and knowledge that once changed everything and might yet change everything again. Satellite imagery shows thermal anomalies that suggest vast open spaces beneath the plateau. Gravimetric surveys detect mass distributions that don't match the visible architecture. The evidence accumulates like pressure behind a dam. In 1991, Dr. Schock's geological analysis of the Sphinx suggested it was at least 7,000 years older than conventional dating allowed. In 1993, seismic surveys revealed the chamber network. In 1997, remote sensing detected tunnels extending over a mile underground. Each discovery was quickly classified, the researchers discredited, or their funding mysteriously withdrawn. The chambers wait, patient as only stone can be patient. In the darkness, untouched by human presence for millennia, the carved walls hold their true steady. The star maps remain accurate. The mathematical principles remain constant. The warning remains unread. But something has changed. In recent decades, sensitive individuals visiting the Giza Plateau have reported increasingly vivid dreams, visions of vast underground chambers, detailed memories of knowledge they never learned. Physicists working on quantum consciousness theories find themselves drawn to Egyptian mysticism, without understanding why. Computer programmers developing artificial intelligence algorithms discover mathematical principles that seem to echo patterns they glimpse in half-remembered dreams. It's as if the knowledge itself is pushing toward the surface, no longer content to remain buried. As if some invisible timer, set long ago by the original builders, is approaching zero. Modern archaeology dances around the edges of revelation, always stopping just short of the deepest truths. Permits are denied, access is restricted, funding disappears when researchers get too close to the forbidden knowledge. The pattern repeats across decades. Discovery, excitement, official intervention, silence. As if some invisible hand continues the ancient policy of concealment, ensuring that what was hidden remains hidden. But why? What could be so dangerous about ancient history that it requires active suppression? The answer lies not in the technology itself, but in what that technology reveals about the nature of consciousness, reality, and humanity's true potential. Sometimes, in the deepest part of the night, when the desert wind stills and the sand settles, you can almost hear it. The echo of ancient footsteps in corridors that officially do not exist, the whisper of knowledge that refuses to remain buried, the patient certainty that truth, like water, will always find a way to surface. And lately, the whispers are getting louder, and so we return to the surface, to the familiar weight of present-day sand beneath our feet. But nothing is quite the same now, is it? The Sphinx regards us with its eternal smile, keeping its secrets as it has for so many thousands of years. Yet somehow, that smile seems different, more knowing, more expectant, as if it's aware that the time of concealment is drawing to a close. The tourists will return tomorrow, their cameras clicking at mysteries they cannot name. The archaeologists will continue their careful excavations, always stopping just short of the deepest truths. The governments will maintain their policies of strategic ignorance, classification, and misdirection. But beneath their feet, the chambers hum with increasing energy, as if responding to some cosmic signal that grows stronger with each passing year. You have walked in those tunnels now, if only in imagination. You felt the cool touch of impossibly ancient walls, breathed the air of chambers that challenge everything we think we know about our past. That knowledge changes something in you, doesn't it? Like seeds planted in fertile darkness. It will grow in its own time, in its own way. But here's what you need to understand. You're not alone in this transformation. Across the world, individuals are experiencing similar awakenings, dreams of advanced ancient civilizations, sudden insights into the nature of consciousness, technological innovations that seem to come from nowhere, all symptoms of a collective remembering that can no longer be contained. The question that echoes through those hidden chambers echoes now in your mind. What do we forget, and why do we choose to forget it? But there's another question, more urgent, more immediate. Are we finally ready to remember? The evidence suggests that the original builders didn't just hide their knowledge. They encoded it into the very structure of human consciousness, waiting for a time when our species will be mature enough to handle the responsibility that comes with true power. The chambers beneath the Sphinx may be sealed, but the knowledge they contain was never truly lost. It was stored in the collective unconscious of humanity itself, waiting for the right moment to resurface. That moment appears to be now. Scientists at CERN are discovering quantum effects that match descriptions in the ancient texts. Neuroscientists are mapping consciousness patterns that echo the diagrams carved in those forbidden chambers. Technology companies are developing artificial intelligence systems that seem to spontaneously generate solutions to problems their programmers never taught them to solve. Solutions that match, with uncanny precision, the mathematical principles hidden beneath the sand. Rest now, as the desert night deepens around the monuments of Giza. Let the sand whisper its lullabies. Let the stars wheel overhead in patterns that the chamber builders mapped with impossible precision. But know that your dreams tonight will be different. The knowledge has touched you now, and it will not let you go unchanged. The chambers wait. The truth waits. And somewhere beneath the eternal gaze of the Sphinx, in spaces carved by hands that knew secrets we have yet to rediscover, the evidence of our forgotten greatness sleeps on, but not peacefully. It stirs now, responding to a call that grows stronger each day, preparing for an awakening that will change everything. In your dreams tonight, perhaps you will walk those corridors again, your footsteps joining the echo of all those who came before, adding your voice to the eternal question that hums in the darkness. And perhaps, when you wake, you will carry with you more than just understanding. Perhaps you will carry the first fragments of memory, the beginning of a remembering that cannot be stopped. The seals are weakening. The knowledge is stirring. And those who understand the true nature of what lies beneath the Sphinx are watching the signs, preparing for the day when humanity will finally be ready to reclaim its birthright. That day is closer than you think, because the greatest secret hidden in those chambers isn't technological. It's the revelation that we've been here before, achieved all of this before, and that the cycle is beginning again. The only question is, this time, will we be wise enough to do it right? The answer lies waiting in the darkness beneath the sand, in chambers that officially don't exist, in knowledge that was hidden not from humanity, but for humanity, until the day we will be ready to remember who we truly are. That day is dawning. Can you feel it? The subtle shift in the air, the quickening of ancient pulses, the stirring of secrets that have slept too long in the dark? The Sphinx knows. It's been waiting. And now, finally, it begins to speak.